Welcome to Creature Covenant with Dr. Adriana, a world movement that celebrates the healing power of the sacred human-animal bond. Now, here is Dr. Adriana.
Well, hello to another chapter of Creature Covenant. Today I have a really special guest and a friend of mine, is Mr. Bill Gray. He is the founder of Second Chance Friends, a charity animal rescue organization here in the Tampa Bay area. Having Bill today is my honor, not only because of his huge heart for people and animals, but also for the amazing organization that he represents and everybody that is part of this animal rescue and the people that make it happen. Bill and his organization were awarded in 2018 the ABC Be More Award and the FEMA 2019 Citizen of the Year Award. Bill, my friend, welcome. I am so happy to have you here sharing with our audience all about your organization and yourself. So let's get to it. How about that?
Sure. It's good to talk with you.
Absolutely. So initially, please tell us about your background, where you come from, and how you started in the animal rescue. And do you remember your first rescue animal?
Yeah, I remember how we found out about rescue. My wife had a boxer when we got married, and I had never had a dog in the house before.
Wow.
So it was a big adjustment for me. But I worked from home, and Casey got to be my best friend. So when she passed, I remember going to the shelter and asking about boxers, and they said, well, we rarely get them, and when we get them, they're gone right away. So we bought a boxer from a breeder. And I don't know, a couple years later, I was in Publix, checking out in Publix, and the lady in front of me had a boxer on her purse, and I said something about boxers, and we had boxers, and we'd like to get a playmate for the one we had bought. And she said, oh, you should rescue one. So I didn't even know what it meant. And she told me she was with a big boxer rescue organization, and that's exactly what we did. We found a boxer to that organization, we adopted it. And you start getting involved in transports, and we fostered a little dog named Mocha, and you see just how big the problem is, and that's where we got hooked. So that's been going on 18, 19 years ago now, I guess. Long time.
Wow, amazing. And then when did you form your your charity per se?
Well, I volunteered for this other organization, and they didn't have a president. And after a couple of years, I ended up the president. And it was a very, very large, one of the largest in the country, purebred rescues. And they were amazing. They did great things. 125 volunteers all over the state. They get checks from celebrities that had boxers and NASCAR drivers. About $120,000, $30,000 a year budget. And it was more of a people job than a dog job, because now you're managing different personalities and emails from all over the state. And I did that for a few years. Well, it was a purebred rescue. So I was constantly getting in trouble because I was taking boxer mixes, and I was taking very old boxers and very questionable looking boxers. And so I was always at odds with the board of directors. So I stepped down as president. I just wanted to be a volunteer again because it was just too much stress. And I still went to Hillsborough County. Now I had to take pictures of the dogs and send them to the board of directors to approve. 2 boxer mixes were euthanized because they wouldn't take them. And I said, I'm going to go do my own thing. And that was in 2011, January 1st of 2012. We founded and started Second Chance Boxer Rescue. I think we had $50 in the bank. We didn't have T-shirts, a logo, anything, and no website. And that's where we started. And, with the thing that there's a lot more mixes out there than there are purebreds. And, It didn't take long before a boxer bulldog mix turned into a bulldog pit bull mix, turned into a Chihuahua that's going to be euthanized tomorrow. And we quickly got a pretty big following on Facebook. And so we continued this second chance boxer rescue. And the joke was always that Bill didn't even know what a boxer looks like anymore. So I guess 3 years ago, we got honest. We changed the name, Second Chance Friends. I always love boxers. We seem to get the sickest ones and the oldest ones when we do get boxers. But we rescue every breed. We rescue cats. We rescued 4 horses a few years ago. But primarily dogs, and primarily from the shelter, off the euthanasia list.
Yeah, that's such an amazing thing, because I would like for you to kind of go over what the second chance entails, because you start thinking about second chance for an animal, but that's not really what it is, right?
No, that's not the way we saw it when we started. There's a lot of rescues around the country, second chance for this and that. No, I don't know that the dogs ever had a first chance. And most of the dogs we get likely didn't. They've been abused or neglected, or just nobody wanted them. I see it as a second chance for humans to get it right this time and take this animal, usually a dog, take a dog, get it on the right path, healthy, teach him a few things, and let him get on with the life he should have always had. And we don't make decisions on which dogs to rescue based on age. There's been times we've had mostly really old dogs in the rescue, or medical conditions, because we've got great vets like yourself to help us get through those difficult medical cases. So, yeah, I mean, that's how it goes. We get some room in a foster home. We now have foster homes in 4 different counties. We're always full. And these people that make everything happen are just amazing. Somebody will find an extra corner somewhere to put another dog. You know, they're just willing to do whatever needs to be done to help.
It must be so difficult sometimes to continue to have faith in humanity sometimes after the things that you see, because there's so much beauty behind what you do. And there's also that ugly side of the things that people do to animals. And to be able to reconcile that, you need to have a great deal of love in your heart.
Yeah. I've always rooted for the underdog team, the team that's not supposed to win, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the team that the odds are against, that's the team I want to win, you know. And it's what you said is true, because you see the worst from people and you see the best from people. You know, about a year ago, I stepped back. I had some health problems. I stepped back from the rescue, and the rescue just took off, continued like it always had, same principles, same standards. And those people are amazing.
Yeah.
They work. The people that support us financially, the vets that help us. I mean, it really is a team effort. So I see both, and I need to see both. If I'm going to see the bad stuff, I need to see the good stuff, you know, and on my worst day, I'll get a picture of a dog I adopted 3 years ago to somebody, and the dog's living their life, you know, so it all seems to balance out. Yeah, I don't think I'll live to see the day there isn't a need. You know, it, sadly, I wish things would change, but, there's always the next one, you know.
True.
We have 19 urns on our shelf here.
Wow.
And I keep saying we'll cut back, but we lose one, and it breaks my heart. And it doesn't get easier, I'll tell you that, and you know that.
Yeah.
But my first thought is that there's dogs dying today at the shelter.
Yeah.
And we go get another one. so yeah, as soon as there's space.
Yeah, Bill, you have such wonderful people behind you. I mean, it's such a blessing, because I have the pleasure to know a lot of them, and they have your back 100%. And
Yeah.
starting with your wonderful wife, Lisa,
Yes.
she's amazing. She's
Yes.
your partner.
Yes. She's just got a 7-day-a-week job here.
Yeah.
Our house is, this is the end of the road. So if there's a dog in rescue that's not adoptable for medical, it's terminal, or I lose a foster home, or it's usually behavior. I've got the wackiest dogs ever here. So their behavior normally wouldn't be appropriate in an adoptive home, but we adapt here, and we figure it out. So, yeah, her days are busy. We have 2 washers, 2 dryers. She's busy taking care of dogs, giving meds and stuff. So yes, we could have never started without her. So the things that kind of went way beyond what we ever anticipated. So she's very good.
She's amazing. And also, I mean, some of your foster home people, they're amazing too. I mean, I can name a few. It takes such a special character to be able to foster and be a good foster, and the things that they do to make the lives of these pets amazing. I mean, they take him to places, they feed him great food, they take him to the vet visits, they're like great parents for those, I wish, and I don't want to be critical, but I've seen some not so great things in the human corner side, and I feel like it is such a great support to have the time of the wonderful, amazing, good-hearted people that are supporting your organization day in and day out. They make it happen. They make it happen.
Yes, the year ago when my health declined, Tracy Cintron, had she not picked up the ball and ran with it, I don't know if we could have continued. Now I'm feeling better and I'm more helped now, but she's driving the bus, and she does an amazing job. And yes, foster homes, it takes a special kind of person, and I don't care how many dogs you fostered. I mean, there's dogs that just tug at your heart. I know there's a lot of tears when these dogs leave these homes, but they do it for one thing, we're very meticulous in finding a home for a dog, and it's got to be the right dog, a right home for the dog. I've learned that when you rush anything in life, it usually doesn't turn out best. So our foster homes aren't in a hurry. I'm not in a hurry. When the right home comes along, we'll all know it. And to let the dog go, yes, we're happy. We know it's going to be a good home, but it tugs at your heart, but they do it. They let them go because they know they can help another dog. And, that's rare. There's just not a lot of people in this world like that.
Yeah.
So we're very fortunate.
Right. And which turns us into another dimension of what you do, or part of what you guys do. You have the ranch at home, which is like the difficult, like that nobody will adopt, ones that live forever in the ranch, right? You and Lisa take care of. And then you have the ones that are, the ones that are put for adoption and in excellent homes. And then you have the program, which is the compassionate care, right? The ones that are not adoptable because of medical issues, age, things like that. And those pretty much get to live their lives till the end with a fantastic foster home. And I don't know how you can, my gosh, you just to let them go and be there until they're done. And this could take a few weeks, a few months, couple years, and it's just amazing to see the situations.
Yes, that. The compassionate care program is just a really big deal to me. It's very expensive, it's hard, a lot of it's ongoing medical problems the rest of the dog's life. And I should also say we care medically in all ways, but especially medically with the dogs, rescue dogs, compassionate care dogs, as though they were our own dogs. We don't cut corners anywhere. We treat these dogs just as if they were our own personal dogs. And in a compassionate care home, and you talk about rare, I mean, the people that will do compassionate care take a dog into your home, not knowing how much longer he could live or she could live. Our vets are so great. I see a dog, I think a dog maybe 2 or 3 months, and then we have dogs in compassionate care that probably outlive me. Right. So once you get them on their feet and get them some good food and love and get them indoors, they usually surprise me how long they live, and I'm not complaining at all. That's what the program's for. But,
it made me so happy to receive any kind of updates on the cases that I have been participating of, like any picture or how their life has been impacted just because you were there at the right time and the right moment, and that pet got maybe minutes away from being euthanized, and you were there, and those pets got their a second chance in life, a life to be part of a family, part of being loved, knowing what is not to be living with heartworms and fleas and disease, and just to be spoiled to the nth degree like they should be. And the expressions in their faces is just amazing. It's almost like they're smiling, right?
Yes. There's a moment, and it's different for every dog, but there's a moment when you look at the dog and you say, he or she's getting it. They get it. They're figuring out how to be a dog. I don't want them to be little people. I don't want them to be kids. Be a dog and just live life as a dog. And a lot of these dogs don't know. They don't know. They've been tied to a tree in the backyard. They've never interacted with people or other dogs. There's a time that comes, and it's usually as they get to feeling better, they get back on their feet, and some interaction with people. If there's a time comes, and you can almost, just from pictures and videos that people, our foster homes, and you can almost see it. There he is, the dog. Yeah, finally, now it gets to be a dog.
Yeah, I'm gonna name a few that I just pop in my head that I just I always will remember, and I would say that the majority of them are not with us anymore. Simba, Oki, Nessie, Gabby, Irma, Max.
You remember more names than I do.
Some of them really touch my, they all touch my heart because they were all in really bad situations, Missy is spoiled rotten. Her name is, I think it's Versace now or something like that, like a famous
something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that,
yeah. She was a shelter dog that had her puppies in the shelter, and they all got sick. Some of them didn't make it. Didn't make it. So, and the ones that are surviving, they're in the best homes, and she is also being loved, acting like a puppy and happy as can be. I mean, it's such a rewarding experience to see her every time, and
one of those puppies is in Colorado.
Yeah.
Moved to Colorado. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, a lot of them keep in touch. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, one of them remembers me because I remember seeing the little since they hadn't even opened their eyes, and every time he sees me, he goes crazy, and it's good to hear that I'm his favorite person, even though I'm not the owner. It's awesome. Others, Simba has a really special place in my heart because when he came, he was going to be euthanized, and when you looked at him, he had all of the signs of an animal that was suffering tremendously, and then it was, if you think about it, it was the logical step to just release him out of his misery. But you happened to be there at that point, and then Simba had a second chance there. Had a chance to live, to be rescued, to find an amazing foster family, and Simba got to do things after that I haven't even done myself. Going to places and he lived a life. Let me tell you,
He celebrated every holiday. Yeah, he had a time. Simba was the result of me being nosy, because I remember standing in an exam. I'm talking to Dr. Layton about one of my dogs, and you're right here to my left examining this dog, and I also have ADD. So finally I had to stop and say, "Excuse me, what's the story with this dog?" And you told me, and I had seen the family in the waiting room and stuff. But yeah, I was sticking my nose where it didn't belong. I probably don't even belong back in that exam room. But people ask, how do you decide which dogs to help? Because of course it's limited. You have space, and dogs. I'm not overly religious, but I feel like dogs cross our path or your path. Somebody that's connected with us, one of the volunteers, they cross our paths for a reason, and at a time when we do have the resources to help them. It's funny because these little hashtags, people put hashtags on things on social media. So anytime we pull a new dog, I'm not even sure which one of the admins do it. Somebody started about a year ago, and there's a hashtag always under the new dog that says Bill never says no. Hashtag Bill never says no. Not as long as there's a plan. And as long as there's a plan and we know we've got, a path for the dog, no. Why say no if you got it figured out, right?
Yeah. So. Simba lived the most beautiful life, and until the end, and it makes me smile every time I think about him. And another one that was like a superhero was Oki, because animals in their short lives are here to teach us something. And Oki told me about being a fighter no matter what, and being relentless. And Oki was a rescue pregnant mom who had heartworms, and she had a heart disease as a consequence of that, and a humongous mammary gland tumor as well that had spread to her lungs. But her spirit and her willingness of still be alive and around made us decide that it was not her time yet, and then we were going to fight along with her. And at the time, we didn't know she was pregnant. She had a puppy that, had we not act quickly, it would have ruptured her uterus. We got there just on time.
Yes, I remember.
And she woke up fast from her anesthesia. The emergency place she went to recover could not believe that she was alive. And she completely amazed everybody around her. She was dressed in superhero and in cheerleading and all kinds of different costumes, and she loved it. And even at the very end, which her life wasn't all that long. I mean, I think she lived maybe 3 months more than she was expected with all of this. But she lived an incredible life, the life that she deserved to live. And, she never once gave an indication that she was suffering. At the very end, she was just like slowing down, and, that it indicated it was her time. But she was amazing, and I just want to honor her foster mom, because she gave so much for her,
She did, and the foster mom had all big dogs in the house.
Yeah,
Rottweilers. Oki ran the place.
Yes,
Oki was the boss. She's just a tiny little dog, just a few pounds.
Yeah, I remember her. And then Irma brings a huge memory too, because she was rescued in Hurricane Irma. She was this little Shih Tzu that had lots of problems, all kinds of them. And she's special because she has been reunited with her foster mom now. They're together in heaven now.
Yes.
Yes.
They are. Yes, they are. And what a special lady and a special dog. Just real quick, I'll tell you, maybe you don't know. She got her name because Irma, the hurricane, was coming, and the shelter shut down, and people were pulling in the parking lot and dumping their dogs in the parking lot, and that's where we got Irma, was from the parking lot.
Oh. Somebody
just pulled in, saw they were closed, they couldn't turn in the dog, and they just turned her loose in the parking lot. And we got 2 or 3 dogs that day. I had heard online on Facebook that was happening, and I sent out a note, and several volunteers just got in their cars and went to the shelter. There's no time to think. What are we going to do? What do we do? You just go, right? And they did. And little Irma was one of them. Yeah, I always remember her in that Wonder Woman costume.
Yeah.
Yes. She was.
Amazing. And Gabby, I remember her because I was your son found Gabby, right?
How do you guys? Yes. I don't know how you remember all these dogs, but yes, my son did.
She was awesome too. She had a lot of problems with her skin, and she got really sick at the end, but she was loved tremendously. And I was there in the end for her. And I have learned doing all of these interviews and the people that I have interviewed that pets don't really never leave us. They'll just continue on their journey, and they just will come back at some point or another, maybe as a different animal, maybe as a guide or an angel. But in the end, they're just angels here to teach us something. Yeah.
Here, over 2,000 dogs we rescued. And I was talking to my doctor a few weeks ago, and we were talking about mindfulness, and I told you my mind kind of bounces around and stuff, and he's telling me how to do some of these mindfulness exercises. And I'm thinking, that's what a dog does. A dog lives in the moment. I'm surrounded by dogs. I've had hundreds of dogs, and I still haven't learned that from them. I see it every day. I'm sure they get so frustrated trying to teach me something or talk to me, but yes, we'll never fully comprehend what all goes on in their mind, and just how intuitive and everything they are. But they are. Somebody posted the other day, it's my daughter-in-law up in Virginia, and she said that there's like one person that comes to their house, and it's the only person in the world their dog doesn't like. And she said the guy always kind of gave her the creeps too. And she was asking me, what do you think? I said, trust the dog. The dogs live or die by that instinct.
Yeah.
And I think humans had that at one time, where the hair stands up on your neck, but now everything has to be logical. We have to understand why, and we think too hard about it, where the dog wouldn't. If the dog had that feeling, it'd get away. It'd go away, So.
Yeah, talking about mindfulness is just to be in the now. Is just to be, right? We're so focused on like living in the past or thinking about the future, and we forgot about living in the present moment.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably one of the biggest lessons that animals are here to teach us. That and just love no matter what, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That's the other one.
You see these homeless people with their pets. And if you just stop and think for a second, a lot of people feel sorry for the dogs, but the dogs look as well cared for as mine.
Yeah.
And just look at it from the dog's perspective. That dog loves their owner as much as their dad or mom, as much as my dogs love me. They don't know any different. This is life, and they're happy. So there's a whole lot of things we could learn from them.
Oh, totally. You probably remember Vets for Pets. We took care of a lot of homeless people's pets. And whatever judgment anybody has, please leave that, because that's absolutely unnecessary and not true. You get to see people that probably didn't have a place to sleep, but they would work so that they could afford to keep their pet at a safe place in a daycare while they were working, and their pets was safe and not like left alone or anything like that. They were on flea prevention. They were on heartworm prevention. They were well fed. They would try to provide the best that they could under the circumstances.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
We've helped some people here and there, a bag of food. And again, you've got on one hand, you've got these people that, imagine some of these homeless people. They wake up in the morning. We all have people to greet us and hi and how are you and I love you and all that, right? Mm-hmm. So all these homeless people, all they've got, that's the only thing that makes them feel like they're somebody is their pet, their dog. That's true. Yeah, I mean, how many people walk down the street hugging homeless people? So the dogs, those dogs mean the world to them. And then you've got, on the other hand, you've got the people that neglect or abuse their animals, and and wealth has nothing. The amount of money in your pocket has nothing to do with your heart.
Absolutely.
Right. And people are very, very wealthy. We go in these houses and do home visits and stuff. And I always ask more questions if everything's perfect, right? Because if your world's perfect now and you got all your pretty things and everything's just perfect, and we're going to put a dog in here, what's that going to do to you? What's important to you? So, people's heart have nothing to do with where they live or how much money they have in their pocket. And we should try to help wherever we can, so.
That's true. Bill, do you remember one specific case that probably marked you on a personal level, if you feel so inclined to share that with our audience? Anything that I know you've dealt with maybe over 1,000 rescues at this point.
Yes.
But is there anyone that you remember that really marked your life, your perspective?
Actually, if you go way back when I was first introduced to rescue, I had something happen that formed a lot of my thoughts on how a rescue should run. And we were fostering a dog. The dog I said we bought from a breeder, she passed away. She's about 9 years old. And this other rescue that we were kind of volunteering for asked me if we would take a dog in just for Labor Day weekend to get it out of boarding, because the boarding facility needed the space, right? And her name was Mocha. And so we brought her home, and she didn't stay for just the weekend. She's with us about 5 weeks. And I was dog stupid. I mean, I really didn't. We loved having her there. But we fell in love with her. And I remember it was on a Saturday, and we had decided, you know what, let's just keep her. Let's adopt her. Well, Monday or Tuesday, my wife had gone to work. I got up, and Mocha could barely breathe. And oh my God, what do I do? And who do I call? And I'm calling numbers and nobody's answering. And what do I do? I don't know what to do. And I remember somebody finally sent me up to a vet in Wesley Chapel. And I sit out there on the curb and cried. Because I just love that little dog so much. So fast forward several years till we start a rescue. And I'm like, what happened with Mocha? And we wouldn't have been able to save her if I had known what to do. But none of my foster homes would ever be in that position again. And if I was going to start a rescue, we were going to empower people to make the decisions. And I don't know another rescue that does this, but I tell our foster homes, if you think it's an emergency, you get the dog in the car and head to the emergency room and call me on the way. Don't wait to hear from me. Here's the nearest emergency room for you to go to. after all these years, many, many years, and hundreds of thousands of dollars in vet bills, I'll bet that decision to empower these foster homes to do that hasn't cost me $1,000 unnecessarily. Most of the time, whenever they needed to go, they needed to go. Another thing, some of these dogs, a lot of dogs come in this rescue and go out that I never meet. We work applications, we do criminal background checks, vet checks, home visits, and all that, and we approve someone to adopt. The foster home decides where the dog goes. I don't. They know the dog. How arrogant is it of me to show up at your house and say, okay, I found your dog a home. Go ahead and give me your dog because I'm going to take it to its new home. Never. That'll never happen in this rescue. You decide. You're the one that's invested. You've invested your heart and your time, your family. You know, everybody loves this dog. So that empowering people to make decisions and do things, I believe, is the strength of our rescue. And I think it also, we get very few dogs back. Very, very few dogs back. Our contract requires that should something go wrong, the dog would be returned to us. And we're under 1% of the dogs we adopt out. And there's usually a family crisis or something that happened. It's been about 2 years ago now, I guess. Back in 2012, we adopted a dog to a gentleman in Valrico. And he had since moved to Texas. I didn't know he had. And he was living with his son out there. And the man had a stroke. And he wasn't going to be okay. He wasn't going to be able to take care of himself. And the son called me and said, you know, I don't know what to do. You know, he had dogs. He said, I can't take any more dogs. Excuse me. So, sent out a note to our volunteers. His name was Max too. Max is in Houston, Texas. We need him here. 2 volunteers got on a plane the next day, flew to Houston.
Wow.
rented a van and drove straight back here with Max.
Holy Christ.
Yeah. They're our family. Yeah, there's thousands of them now. There's over 2,200 of them. But they're our family. And they will always be our family. And we'll always be here for them to help them, you know. So, I don't know. I get off on tangents when I talk. So, just tell me. If I'm not answering your question, tell me.
No. It's amazing. I mean, I know you have so many stories to tell, I'm sure, because there's story after story is rewarding, is amazing. It's like nerve-wracking and sad and everything at the same time. Now, how has it been with COVID? Because, you used to have a lot of like fundraising events and how is that working now?
So, fundraising it's been a little more difficult. We've done some online stuff. Probably the biggest difficulty we had is that home visits are very important to us. And, we want to see the home, see the backyard, is there a fence, that kind of stuff. But really, a home visit for us is get the whole family together. We want to meet everyone. Is everybody excited and they buy into the idea of adding a pet? Or was it dad's idea and mom's overwhelmed with kids and dogs now? And she really doesn't want or need another dog. You know, that's kind of what we're looking for. And if there's children in the home, how respectful are they of the parents? Do they listen? You know, is there some kind of order in the home? That kind of thing. So COVID really, really messed us up with that. And we have some foster homes. One, her father lives with her, and you know, they absolutely cannot bring COVID home to him because he probably would not make it, you know, with his health problems. So we've had to kind of adjust. We tried to keep it to a minimum, but we have done a few like this through video, you know, with people, but it's hard to get the same sense you can as if you're sitting in someone's living room visiting with them, you know. So there's been a few of those. And meet and greets were a challenge too, right? So we've kind of worked around it, and we're kind of in a groove now where it all works. But it's another thing I'll say about COVID is that we get flooded with applications initially whenever they shut everybody's home, right? And so there's people would email and you talk to them. They say, well, now's a good time because I'm home, right? And that's a good point. But also, what's going to happen to your life now when you're not at home anymore? You know, now you're going to be back at work, you're going to be going out, you're going to be doing those things. And one, You know, we don't want to make the dog so dependent on you while you're home that when you're not, now we have a problem. And two, is to go, right now there's room in your life for a dog because you're stuck at home. Will you continue to have that room in your heart and your life once we can go out again? So it's taken a lot more conversation, you know, and talking with people. And some people say, you know, I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, you're right. You know, when I was before COVID, I was never home, you know, so we just try to be really careful about where we put them, and that, you know, everybody understands this is a lifelong commitment. So yeah, COVID's kind of put a hamper on some things. You know, I'm hopeful now the vaccines are coming out that, you know, 6-8 months, maybe we'll be back to as close to the way things were before. But we've managed.
Yeah, it's good. And this kind of pushes into the next subject, which for me would be any kind of advice that you have to people that are looking into bringing a pet to their home. You know, like whether they purchase it, hopefully not, because there's a lot of animals that need rescue in a shelter. But what would be your advice for people that are thinking about getting a pet?
There's a lot of misconceptions out there. Like, I don't know how many people told me, I want to get a puppy because I want to train it the way I want it to be, you know. First of all, that probably won't happen. Oh. First of all, you're probably not going to train the dog. That's, you know, very few people have the level of commitment that it takes to really, you know,
really train a pet. Yes.
Yeah, when they think this dog's going to be like super obedient, you know. You can teach old dogs new tricks. And those dogs at the shelter, the older dogs at the shelter may already know some tricks.
Oh, yes.
Right. I'm way past the puppy stage, you know, the chewing on the shoes and the peeing and the pooping and all that. You know, let somebody else deal with the puppies. So I would encourage people to be open-minded, right? Not just about a puppy, but also a breed. People get a certain breed in their head and just hyper focused on that. You know, do some research. You know, some of these breeds, like a husky, you live in an apartment, you probably don't want a husky, right? Yeah. One, your neighbor's going to hate you, and two, the dog's going to go bonkers in your apartment. So, you know, you want to get away from what you want, right? What do I want? And think about what different breeds of dogs or ages of dogs need, right? Because when you get a good match like that, it's just going to be a lot happier for everybody, you know. And that's why we like just talk to somebody, you know, and listen, and just be open minded about it. I remember, you know, and quite a few people are when you just start talking to them. Do you really want a puppy? I'll tell you about puppies. We get in no hurry to adopt puppies. You see other places, they adopt them out at 8 weeks. No. Our foster moms with puppies, when they have a litter of puppies, oh my God, by the time those puppies leave,
they're like,
yeah, they're over it.
Yes.
So we'll start promoting about 8 or 10 weeks, start promoting them. But I don't get involved in the application process unless somebody they have a question or they want to make an exception to one of our policies or something. But for puppies, after everything's done and before the puppy goes to the new home, I call them and make every effort to talk them out of adopting a puppy. I tell them every reason you do not want to do this. Trust me, you're making a mistake. You do not want to adopt this puppy. And I want everybody on the phone. Get everybody on the phone. You do not want a puppy. Those $300 shoes, you know, you wear once a year, forget it. Yeah. The first time you leave them out on the floor somewhere, you know, they're going to chew your $300 shoes and your nice leather couch and all that. Do not adopt this puppy. And there haven't been very many I've convinced not to, but there isn't one of them that could call me a month later complaining because they heard it all. They heard everything. The peeing, the pooping, and all that stuff. So puppies are really the only dogs we get involved with. It's difficult for us, but we don't spay or neuter till about 4 months. So if you want to adopt a puppy from us, once you jumped through all the hoops and you adopted the puppy, then legally puppy remains our property, comes and lives with you. We call that foster to adopt. We already have the appointment set up for you to take the puppy to one of our clinics, at right about 4 months, and get the spay or neutered. Once the incision's healed and everything's okay, dog's microchip, then we do the adoption contract and you adopt. So that way we maintain legal control of the dog, until we know that it's been spay or neutered. So, people just be open-minded. There's no reason to remain ignorant about it. With the internet, you can go online and learn anything.
Oh yes.
So figure out what you're doing and look at your lifestyle and what's going to fit. Maybe a cat would be better. I don't know. It just depends on your life.
By the way, you have the most adorable cat on your website. He's a black cat.
Is there a cat on our website?
Yes.
Is there a cat?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a black cat. And he's adorable. He's looking straight at the camera. And he's actually friendly with dogs, cats, people, everything. And he's young. So if anybody is out there interested, he's up for adoption.
Second Chance Friends. I didn't know. I didn't know. I actually have a trap set. I need to go check it when we get done. And for a little kitten, a little feral kitten. So.
How can people find you, Bill? How can people support your organization?
You can go to secondchancefriends.org. Second Chance, and second spelled out, the word secondchancefriends.org. You can go on Facebook and find us. I think the Facebook page is Second Chance Friends Inc. I'll give out my phone number because anybody watching this probably already knows us, right? My phone number is 813-263-6450. People are free to call, text me, anything. And the support in the community is huge. It's just as important as the other segments, right? If we didn't have people that support us and promote us and donate money, we couldn't do any of this. So,
and on your website, I'm sorry. I know your website. People can also, if they're interested in being foster homes, can they contact you through your website?
Yeah, the application process is the same to foster or adopt. Exactly the same. We don't distinguish between the two. Although we're excited when somebody applies to foster, right? But a certain percentage of the time, the fosters end up keeping their dogs and adopting anyway. Yes. So it's just exactly the same process. All the same questions and everything. If you're going to foster, you get more information, of course, about caring for the dogs and where's the nearest clinic and what they might be able to expect if we put a dog in their house. So people will listen. I think there's probably some fear involved here too, because I've never done it, right? The whole thing about, I couldn't let them go. All right, we'll deal with that later. Get past that because that's about you. Let's talk about the dog. So if people will listen, we can help them safely bring a dog in their house and integrate the dog into their house. You're not on your own. I mean, we have a hidden Facebook page with volunteers. They go on there, post pictures. Just a side note, all of my foster moms have the cutest, the smartest, most adorable dog in this rescue. And it's funny because they all post the pictures and it's like a little competition that nobody really says there's a competition, but it is, So I've really enjoyed seeing those pictures. But anyway, we support everything. We pay for all the medical. We even get the dog food if you need dog food. But don't be afraid. We place dogs in foster homes as carefully as we put adoptive dogs in homes. We don't want anybody getting hurt. We want everybody to have an idea what's going to happen. So I'd like to think we do a really good job at that. But people can call me and talk to me. We don't have any secrets here.
Amazing. Bill, it's so wonderful to have you here today sharing the stories, a rescue animal, rewarding life. And also for everybody that's listening, if you're interested in supporting Second Chance Friends, their efforts, donations, but if you know of an organization that is looking to support a charity this would be one that I would entirely recommend, because obviously you have heard the stories and you know that they're responsible and they promote responsible pet ownership. They don't adopt out animals to just anybody. And it's beautiful, very, very close to my heart. Bill, thank you so much for sharing with us today your story. And I'll see you everybody at Creature Covenant next time. And then if you want to join our movement, go to www.creaturecovenant.com.